This video introduces the force and moment load tools available in the assembly toolbar. While calculations are different for each load type, the load dialog for both the force and moment loads are identical. A force load simulates the effect of an evenly distributed, linear force on an instance. By default, the force is distributed throughout the instance's volume. If a load region is enabled and specific faces of the instance selected, the force is distributed evenly over those faces. The moment load simulates the effect of an evenly distributed torque on an instance. By default, this moment is distributed throughout the instance's volume. If instead a load region is enabled and specific faces of the instance selected, the moment is evenly distributed over the faces. Let's set up two simulations, one with a force load and one with a moment load. Both simulations have identical dialog selections, for instance, load direction and magnitude. To add a force load to the assembly, select Force from the assembly toolbar. The force load dialog appears. Select a single instance in the assembly on which the load should be applied. Next, establish a load direction with an explicit or implicit mate connector. The load direction is aligned with the mate connector's z-axis. The direction for the push and pull of the load can be reversed along the z-axis by clicking the opposite direction arrow. Load direction is configurable for each simulation. Once a load direction is established, a solid line extends from the instance outward with a load direction arrow placed at the end of the line. Each load type has its own unique icon. Now that a load direction is established, set the magnitude of the load along any of the three axes. The magnitude units may vary and are set by the document's workspace units defined as force default unit or from your account preferences. With this document's force default unit set to Newton, the default value in this load is 1000 newtons along the z-axis. Change the magnitude to the desired amount for any of the axes. By default, the load is applied to the entire instance body. If the load should be applied to a select region, enable the load region option. This allows you to apply the load to a specific face or faces instead of the entire part. Click the green checkmark to accept the load. When the load icon is selected from the graphics area, the icon and loaded instance region turn orange. Right-click the load direction icon to open a context menu with options such as Edit the load, Hide, Suppress Unsuppress, and Delete load. Expand the simulation panel. Click the Add Simulation button to add a second simulation. Right-click the Simulation 2 header in the simulation table and select Set Active. In the table, uncheck the force load for Simulation 2. Create a moment load by selecting Moment from the assembly toolbar. Make similar selections for instance and load direction. Set the z-axis magnitude to 5000 Newton-millimeter. Click the green checkmark to accept the moment load. In the simulation panel, uncheck the moment load for Simulation 1. Now Simulation 1 has the force load and Simulation 2 has the moment load. In the simulation field, enable Show Results. In the Results options, enable Show Deformation. Switch between viewing results for Simulation 1 and Simulation 2 by either right-clicking the simulation headers in the simulation table and selecting Set Active, or using the simulation drop-down list in the simulation field.